Hey, it's me. I'm out here in the driveway workshop, sitting on a stool, enjoying some air, enjoying some sunlight before it gets so stinking muggy today. We've been having afternoon thunderstorms like you wouldn't believe. So, anyhow, let's, you know, cop a squat. Let me show you what I'm doing.
I think you're really cool. I like you a lot. Maybe we can hang out or something. Hey, I think you're really cool. I like you a lot. Maybe we can hang out or something.
Okay, that's for an upcoming video. That's going to be for fox hunting, 2-meter Yagi. I've got the radials um, drill dyed. So I figured, well, while I'm sitting out here, I'm going to make a GMRS Slim Jim. And this is, let me tell you something. I'm seriously considering heating when I do the 440 with that heavy wire right there, copper wire. I'm seriously thinking about actually heating that up with a torch to get a more square bend, because I've got the feeling that, antenna theory, and a lot of it is just that, theory. Some of it's in actual science, don't get me wrong. Um, it's a series of trade offs and what you're willing to trade to get whatever. And it gets down to, let me lay this sideways here on the ground there. It's not completely straight, and it's kind of curved, and it's kind of misshapen, but the nuts of the thing are there. It's 18 and just about 18 and a half inches long on the long length. It's 0.2 inches gap. It's got half-inch gap opening on each end, and then the rest is just, whatever 18 uh, 18 and a quarter inches, something like 18, something in there. Okay, there's math uh, guides everywhere, all over the YouTubes, uh, that you can get a link to do a design and get yourself a layout for it. But this is going to be inside a piece of PVC after I get it finished, and finished would include, I believe it's like 1/4 or 1/8 of the length of the overall length up is the connection point. And it's just going to be a bare copper and braid into a PL 236 coming out of the bottom of a PVC cap. But this gap right here is critical, and I believe it's too close together right now. So as soon as the nano NVNA gets charged and I get it calibrated, I will endeavor to get the coax soldered here and here, and then it's going to be all about tuning. And to tune it, you would take some length off of here or some length off of here, and the position here, your feed point. So I'll model it, bend it around, see if I can't get the thing to play right and act like it's got some sense. But that's what that is. And I may um, just tie these together um, as works in progress. Um, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So let me switch channels here and show you what else is going on. Okay, I'm back. The ever-present NOS. I use this aluminum rod as a pointer. So what I've done, this is a 3/4 inch piece of aluminum extrusion, okay, square, 3/4 by 3/4, and I've knocked a hole in it here for the front director. This is where the driven element is going to be, and right here, that little dot right there is the reflector, and it's going to be a 3-beam Yagi for 2-meter for fox hunting. Now, these are the parts of the radials, and it caused a little bit of a quandary in me. What I want to do is put that will go through there like that, and it's a little loose on that, but it should be snug on the actual antenna radials elements. Here's the quandary. I've got two Yagis that all the elements are bonded. They're all part in full electrical connection and mechanical connection to the boom, to the rail. This one, what I want to do is I'm going to use 3 inches of that rod and connect 2 pieces of antenna, cut them off with a tubing cutter, and have them butt together on the inside there and there. And I guess when I do that, I just went and bought these rubber tips put on there. I thought that was kind of ghoulish. So that will fit right on it. Okay. So what I'm thinking is that I probably need to drill a small hole and just screw the antenna to the aluminum rod there. I was going to heat them up and just run some, not here, not this one, that one there, and that one there, and just have a join the radial to the centerpiece, this butt joint, aluminum biscuit, if you will, and then screw the center, drop a screw in it right here to hold the whole assembly in place. And again, not on this, that one, and that one. So just the pondering, or I'm not opposed to um, making the opening to fit the arrow itself. Now these are aluminum arrows I had ordered from China, Amazon. They said they delivered red ones and blue ones, but I have not seen the red ones. So I'll be making another Yagi 2-meter 440, probably using the blue for the 440 elements and red for the 2-meter for satellite work. So that's kind of where I'm at. I need to cut pieces of that rod off I may even cut it in half so that I've got 6 inches going into each aluminum aerial element, radial, and then screw it down maybe a couple places, um, and then screw the whole attachment, slide it in, screw the whole attachment down there and there. Now, this one right here, I've got to find myself a piece of fiberglass or something, and this would be a rather simple little exercise of putting it in and screwing it down, fiberglass in, with that not touching the rail on either side, and then running coax center on one side and coax braid on the other down into a PL239 or 59 or whatever the 9 something, um, to connect to the ham radio, the HT for fox hunting. Um, so that's just, and in the midst of it, the old Ryobi cordless ran out of lightning bolts. So it's on the charger getting more lightning bolts put in it. So that's where I'm at with this one. Um, Coffee cup, water, energy drink, fully hydrated. Ooh, ooh. Um, so let me back away from there and I will bring you back in. Uh, that little post-it note is the links of the aerial, each one of the radials that they have to be tip to tip. So I'll bring you back in when I figure out which way I'm going to do this. Okay, come to find out that rod is not 12 inches long, it's 16 inches long. So what I've elected to do is I'm going to split it in half, and I'm going to use this tubing cutter to do so. That's the mark. It's going to be inside the arrow shafts themselves. Then I'll just drop a screw right center point of this as they feed through the rail on the deflector and the reflector and the director. Got my tool bits, drill bits to enlarge the holes to make them accept the antenna. And once I've got them centered equally inside that opening and that soon to be opening, I will then drop a small drill straight down through the top, or actually I think I'm going to do it from the bottom. I'm going to come in from the bottom there to secure the radial in place, and drop a hole in this rod through the antenna. That ought to be a trick to secure it to this rod in the center. I hope that makes sense. Let me get this cut and I will show you. Okay, I'm back on my dumpster sawhorse, and I have the 3 holes. That's not all boogered up, that's just marker all over it. Drilled through the beam. That's going to be the driven element. That's the director. That's the reflector. And these are my hand scribbled notes. Go ahead and check those out. The reflector is supposed to be 41 1/4, and the math on that's pretty easy. You know, it's take that number and divide it in half, and you know that's where it's going to the 2 pieces have to be to join. Then the director is 36 1/2. so 18 1/4. The driven is going to have a 3/4 inch spacer, so the two driven elements have to be 18 inches. So let me start whacking these damn things, and then I'm going to have to go to Home Depot or Ace or someplace and get some small screws to drill to connect the radial, to connect the fiberglass spacer or a poly spacer rod for the director, and then of course to attach these inside. What I've done is I've just marked where the center is. That's an 8-inch rod, and that's the outside of the 3/4 inch piece of tubing. So I know that if I put one or the other in up to that mark, that when I slide it into the rail, that line here, you know what, let me cut it and I'll show you. It's a lot easier. Okay, as I cut these, I'm putting the yellow caps on them to signify that they are a completed set. This is the driven pair, and these are going to be with a piece of fiberglass or poly tubing or material that's that size in there, and then they will stop just short of the outside of the rail and be secured to that. This one and the other three will be butt connected to each other to form those links and go all the way in through the rail itself. So, and again, I got the adjustable one, so it's a little easier to spin it and cut it. And it's doing a pretty good job, pretty clean job of it. So let me get the other 4 pieces cut, and I'll pick you back up. Okay, here they are, all cut. You can see the long ones there are the reflector. The second set is the driven, and the director are the end pair. Now, in actuality, the way this thing is going to be set up, the center pair there, the driven pair, is going to be a 1/4 inch longer, wider than the director. But that's because we're going to have to compensate for the 3/4 inch width of the rail. And I will see if I can get this thing set up to show you what I'm talking about as far as trying to get these things mounted together in a somewhat coherent fashion. So these two will be the director, and what it's going to wind up having to happen is these are going to just smack the mic, but all the way up to each other right there in the center. Okay, so what'll probably happen is I'll get them to that point and probably put a metal screw on this side here and then feed it through, push this through the opening after I deburr it a little bit, push it through the opening and have them join inside the rail. But this outside mark will tell me how far it needs to be over when I slide it in, before I slide the other one in to join it. I hope that makes sense. It made sense to me when I configured it up. So anyhow, yeah. Okay, let me back up. This is kind of a rough, it's not been completely put together, screwed in place, mounted. The radials aren't attached to each other, they're not attached to the rail. The driven element obviously is not joined, and there's no connection to the handy-talkie and that. So I hope this will kind of show, and probably what I might even do if I'm making it so I can take these apart, just unscrew it. If if we think this is the bottom of the rail, then the screw would go straight down here into the aluminum tubing, whatever, and there'd be a screw here and a screw there holding the radial to the center aluminum rod. The same back there with the deflector, the director, the reflector. Whatever, I'm tired. Sorry about that. It'll be the same setup there. Um, and I may even put a piece of tape or put a scratch on this side, a lot finer than a Sharpie, I assure you, so that when I put the things together, it's easier to find the hole in the center and snap these things back together. If I even take it apart, it may be just something that I leave as a fixed fox hunting antenna. So anyways, my next step is going to have to be going to Home Depot and find some fine um, metal screws to go straight down into the rod there and there. Find a piece of fiberglass or poly that's this wide and it's that diameter, and then some fine metal machines, like maybe self-tapping metal screws to go here on the bottom side, um, to join the radial so it's all one piece. But that's what it's going to look like. Sans the connection, and then of course right here, probably a hose clamp or something here and here to connect it, or a screw. I may even do something like that, like a solder-on um, round opening, round connector that it would screw right to the rod, the copper center for the coax on one side and the braid on the other. And I'm thinking of actually putting a hole here and running the coax down through the um, rail, but I'm concerned about interference. Um, so I may just have it just run right down the belly of the thing, and maybe put some sort of something to keep it up off of the rail, like a guide or something to go there, and then pad that end if I feel like it. But you get the gist of what I'm doing here. So be right back in. Okay, one Home Depot run down, and a antenna to complete. As I get it kind of partially there, I'll bring you back in so that you can see what's happening. Okay, it's been a week since I worked on these, and basically all this is a stand to keep them upright and from bending the elements. In the process of doing all this, there's when I assembled these, I don't know if I mentioned it in the video. I know I did a lot of yakking. It it may not be very visible here. You can see the flexation or the movement in the rail. That point A to A and you can see the AA. And I'll go here to the other side. It's just held together with this one screw here, machine screw. All right, and I'm not digging that. So I'm going to take that out, and I bought some 632 3/4 inch nut and bolt, and I think I bought button recess things on them so that it doesn't snag stuff. May or may not add that, but I am going to through bolt it here, and I am going to through bolt it here. It's got a double uh, pop rivet holding this part of the connection together, but this one screw just ain't cutting it, and eventually it'll work itself loose, and it's just crap. Okay, that's not going to fly. So let me back this out a little bit, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, the next segment that'll involve this, you can see it's through bolted, both pieces. The next segment, I come in on this, will be hooking the Nano VNA here and tuning this. And I believe my information was incorrect. I believe this is like an L connector, and a wire is coming down and hanging in free space, and then this element is using this this molded poly connector to hold this element piece in place. Then it's mechanically and electronically connected there to do the tuning, matching to the frequency. This is a 70 centimeter. Again, I'm a week after videoing the rest of the stuff that you've been seeing for the last 15 minutes or whatever. So if I keep repeating the frequency band, I apologize. But this is, slide this up and down while attached to the Nano VNA, and we'll get it tuned up, matched to this one I believe we're going to set up for the GMRS band. Okay, in another video, I had shown this part, and well, maybe it's appended to this one. I've got like 50 pieces of video that are just kind of hanging out there, and I'll see how they stitch together in the final cut. But I had done this and this, and I also did it here. I just felt like having it through bolted was a much more accurate and concise uh, way of doing it, and that's the way I went ahead and did it. So then, as with this one, the next time I come in, we'll be hooking the Nano VNA into this feed point, and we will be tuning both the 2 meter and the 440 70 centimeter band. This will be for satellite comms, and it will most likely be, now I've got that piece there, and I'm going to set it up very similar to this, except I'm going to have the 2 meter radios going that way, and it will go on that tripod. I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to mount it, but the biggest thing about this tripod is you can pan, now I don't have it loose, but you can pan it and tilt it to the horizon with the antenna on it, so you can track the satellite that way, and you can flip it from horizontally polarized to vertically polarized if it's mounted here. Okay, so you can just lay it that way, and that becomes a thing when you're trying to communicate with vertically or horizontally polarized transmitters on whatever satellite or the space shuttle, or just whoever you're trying to communicate with. So that'll be next with those. Okay, pulling you back in, what I did was this particular pole was actually set upside down on that base, and I was trying at one time. I was trying to join it and the one upstairs that is the passive listening mount for aircraft and for the micro whip, micro mini whip. Uh, I was trying to make it so it was you could put them together and grab some height, and made some cuts on it down there, and it just looked like crap. So I had it upside down, and then I remembered I had that extension pole that I'd gotten to fit inside there, and it wouldn't go inside that end. So I flipped them around, and then had to move everything, flipped it over, and now I have that extension. So if I do decide to put um, like a dumbbell barbell weight, I've got a 45 pound or 35 pound wheel that I can put on there. Of course, it'd have to slide all the way down the pole to get to there, but I figured taking it on and off, on and off, on and off a couple times, that's going to loosen up. And it usually has a screw in there. But for the time being, this is just going to be a place to store the Yagis, the stubby dipole, and the J pole, and the um, Slim Jim. They'll all be just have mounts on here that they can just set. And if I ever decide that I want to use it, I can just unclamp these and take them out. So that's the next thing that I was working on when I was out, you know. And I didn't think you wanted to see all that. Now, I've got a part for that J pole to mount into that I'm going to heat up and bend the end on it out there with a hammer. That'll be quite the surgical feat. And then I'll mount it on this side so that the J pole will just stand, not for use, stand upright, so that I don't have all these things laying everywhere in the way and getting beat up and broke, and the contacts. As soon as I get that mount on here, and the method of mounting that on here figured out as well, then I will start doing the connection point for um, the J pole, and so we can get it and the Slim Jim tuned. So it would, in effect, there'll be 5 antennas that we're going to be tuning when we get to that point. Okay, having to make a Ace hardware run to get some nuts and bolts and a couple of L brackets, little goofy stuff like that, to simply just get the stand fixed. Then I still have to fix the foxtail 2-meter Yagi and solder connections onto the J pole and Slim Jim and I forget what the name of it is. It's a crossover piece on the Yagi where the driven element is split, and you connect them with a piece of wire, and then you either adjust that, you can tune with that as well. So I'll be right back with you. Okay, back from Home Depot or Ace. And have you ever started off with a project and it mutates into something that you really didn't intend it to be, but you know, you're pretty much okay with it anyways? So I brought this downstairs to really, I needed to fix the fox hunt Yagi, and I needed to put a feed point in on the J pole, and I needed to fix the 2 Yagis, and it has turned into creating a pretty much a when not in use stand for my various antennas. There's two more that are missing, and this is for all ham crap. Okay, so this is the duo stubby, and it's just you take that knot off, that bolt off of there, and there's a mounting point there. Just unscrew it, put it mounted on a tripod or an arm off of a mast, and screw in a feed point, coax, and you're off to the races. But it's off the ground. It's not getting knocked around. It's not getting bent. It's not getting loosened up. The two Yagis you've seen to death. Okay, the 2 meter 440, the uh, GMRS. Uh, then there's the Yagi, and it's just sitting in a holder, and it's just leaned into this hook to keep it from falling over, and it's just sitting there. As soon as I get the feed points on there, you could snatch it up off of there, mount it up on a mast, and this is a titanium whip with a basically a CB antenna. I think it's a 10 millimeter fine thread. This is for those like buddy sticks, buddy poles, the JPC 12s or JMC 12 or PAC 12s. That's what this is for. And to get away from having to have the 17-foot telescopic um, whip, you can get into your uh, shorter wavelength uh, bands using this, and I guess the loaded coil part of it. But um, in any case, it gets everything up out of the way, and if push comes to shove, I could yank all those out, and this would be kind of a pain in the butt to do, but you just unscrew those, okay, and just dismount them from there, and bada bing, bada bang, bada boom, you can mount them on a mast. Now, in actuality, these are probably going to just be used handheld. I just have to get like a pistol grip or something that I'm going to mount on the underside, on this side, opposite of the feed point, so I can just point it. Um, yeah, so and same thing with this 440. Now they may also be able to be mounted up on a mast. I'm not saying that they're not. What I do have is options, and what I also have is stuff not just laying everywhere, getting busted the hell out of. So that's kind of a good thing. Okay, so we're back, and I hate to keep jumping in and out on you, and I hope I can find these and get them into the right video release. Um, so this is the fox hunting 2 meter Yagi, and in messing with this a little bit, a couple of things came very obvious very quick. Uh, Number one, I was messing around, and the center connecting point right here that we put in there, um, the first one I broke, and I thought that was rather odd. Um, I couldn't find a real rational reason why that would happen. And if you look, let me get it up in the air here, at it, focus, there is a space in between the elements and the rail because they're not supposed to be touching the center rail, the driven element. Two things are missing. Number one, like I said, I was playing with a piece of this a little after I'd done this and broke it. And I thought that peculiar and started messing around. It turns out that that's a wooden dowel covered in a very thick plastic. So that's a big no-no. So that's got to come out of there. And it's very hard to find pieces to cobble stuff together and keep it professional looking. But I was eventually able to find a supplier on Amazon, Amazon not being the supplier but sold to Amazon, some, uh, let's see, what is that? Well, it's an acrylic rod, 12 pieces, and I believe they're 1/4 inch. The inside diameter of the arrow shafts are 1/4 inch, and so I'm going to unscrew that, put a piece of it there, screw it down, and then reattach the elements. But I also am supposed to have that piece of green wire right there that I haven't stripped and curled the ends yet, but they have to be up there. And that's part of the, I think they call it a bridge or something, but somebody I'm sure will, well, one person who'll watch this video will say, no, you're an idiot. Okay, I'm good with that. Um, that has to go and connect the two sides, even though they're split and not connected. They need to be electronically connected, and then you use that as part of the tuning of the Yagi. So I'm going to, because I don't want to have you just sit there and watch me bend wires. You know how to bend wires. You know how to strip wires. I'll jump back in and show you what I've done. And let me see if I can. I think it's a lost effort to. Ah, there is a God, and it's not me. Okay, so that is the polyacrylic rod that I was able to acquire on Amazon. Now, I'm not going to use the whole rod. Um, I seriously think that just cutting it in half would be sufficient, and put it in there, and then we can go to town and make this thing rock and roll. Onward and upward, yo. Okay, I decided that what I would do is go ahead and just use a full piece. It's a 1 foot long piece, and make sure it's centered, and then slide the antenna elements in on them and drill those. So that's what I opted to do, and I figured I would share that little tidbit with you as it was happening. A live action moment, and actually drill this. I mean, I question how much you even really care. Um, because I've watched videos and I'm like, dude, I know how to use a drill. So I totally get it if that's where you're at. There's no hate. Can't hate on somebody for not wanting to watch me use a drill bit. But that being said, here we are, videotaping it. And this is just a stainless steel garden variety sheet metal panhead Phillips head panhead screw. Um, that is now centered on there. And then all I have to do is slide the aerials on, or radials. I don't know why I persist in calling them aerials when they're clearly not. Well, they may be. So there's that, and all I have to do now is drop holes into the polycarbonate, whatever it is, rod. I don't know. It's on Amazon. So, and it came in a 12 pack. So then I can drop holes in there, start those two screws. These will connect, but then I have to strip the ends of this and make loops, and then it'll stick up here. So since I have such a minor or small area to work, and my workstation's outside, needs to get washed out, I'm going to turn this off again. Okay, it is together. Trying to do this cut real quick. Neighbor across the street's revving up his weed eater. Hey, people's got to live. You know what I'm saying? It's Saturday. People doing their lawn, so I'm in their world. So I'm not sure if there's a specific link that that's supposed to be. I believe, if anything, it's too long, and I will definitely find out probably shortly. I'm going to do some research, and I know that I've seen several of these where people have actually had to pinch that almost touching. So there it is. It's now stable. It's not feeling like it's going to break in the center, and all in all, that's a pretty good thing. So I'm not hating this this one at all. So now, as soon as I get the rest of the stuff done, I'll be in a place where I can bring all this stuff upstairs to the uh, office F, or showroom, or whatever it is, F, and give this thing a tuning. More to come. Okay, I brought out the old scientific soldering setup. Uh, I don't know if this iron, now I've only got it halfway up. Every time I've ever seen anybody do this, they've got the blowtorch out, heating torch out, just cooking out of these connectors. And my concern is that, not, I'm all about cooking the crap out of something, just ooh, ooh, ooh. Um, but if I could get it done a little neater, um, I think I'm gonna try it. I may have to bump the temperature up. It's running. I've got it set for 381, and it's registering at 381. And if I could keep from my concern is I don't want to misshape the slip ring, okay, the slip joint. Um, that is my overriding concern, is getting that misshapen and then it becoming a mondo problem. My other concern is that everyone else that's doing this is, I'm concerned that the contact point is, well, here's the thing. That right there, it's supposed to be an inch and an eighth up from the bottom. Inch and an eighth, or 1.9 inches. And this is spreading the contact point out quite a bit. And I'm just concerned that I'm going to have issues by trying to make this as adjustable as possible. I kind of was pondering running that through the pipe cutter and cutting it in half, so the contact point is smaller, but I really think that I think I'm just worrying myself to death. So anyhow, I'm going to get some flux in there, get it heated up, get it pushed up together, and see if I can't just get this to solder like a normal person instead of blowtorch bandit.